Right, okay. I'm going live on StreamYard, allegedly, if it's working. Which hopefully it is. Hello, everyone. Yep, been a little bit since I did a stream. Got a few things on the news I was going to take a look at. Um, First of all, yeah, just wearing this old jumper that's all mucky and stuff because I've been spending most of my morning working on a car, the dreaded Renault. If you've ever had an old Renault Megane Scenic, maybe you know my pain. But yeah, no, it's not been too bad. But there was a couple of things I needed to fix. The mass airflow sensor was an issue, and I didn't know it was an issue for a while. I couldn't figure out why it was dropping power and being a pain and really struggling at times. It was intermittent. I tried cleaning this thing called was it EGR valve or something, which was all gunked up and messy, and I did that several times and it still didn't work. Or it seemed to sometimes, but then not others. It was one of those things where problem solving. You're just trying different things, and eventually, I unplugged a thing. I worked out. I looked on what do you call them? Like forums, like Renault forums. With this, it's sort of like a 1.9 diesel engine, and people were saying they were having issues with either that valve, which I cleaned, or the mass airflow sensor. And they were saying, so I unplugged that, and then it was like a rocket ship. It was like, you put your foot down, it was like vroom. Like the revs before, it was like the revs weren't going very high, and it was all something wrong. So yeah, I've just been running it with that unplugged for a while, which kind of not supposed to do, but it doesn't really do too much of an issue. What it is if that's not plugged in, it just goes to like a sort of factory setting of it, like, oh, it estimates it must have about this much air, so it'll put in that much fuel. It's just like the factory setting sort of things. But it was working like a dream, to be honest. But just to make sure the emissions is correct and stuff for the MOT and all that sort of stuff, I thought I better get some mass airflow sensor cleaner and clean that. And usually when I have a job to do on the car, right, it'll what I think will take an hour, it always takes 2 or 3 hours. What I think will take 2 hours usually takes 6 hours of injuring myself and hitting it with a hammer very hard. And this one wasn't too bad, but lo and behold, of course, like the mass airflow sensor, I was thinking, where's it going to be for this one? It's surely going to be inaccessible, and it nearly was. It was right at the back. Right, I had to kind of like take away some stuff and move some stuff so I could actually get my hand in and try and feel to pull it apart. I had to take the airbox off, and it was kind of attached to the airbox. It was a bit of a pain, but got it done. Good news is, I mean, I emptied a good half a can or so of this mass airflow sensor cleaner onto it, and so far so good. Did the job, put it back together, and now even with that plugged in, whereas before it would barely run, it's running like normal. So that seems to have done the trick. There was one other little thing I was fixing, but yeah, it unnervingly went too well, and I don't know what's going to happen, because usually if I try and fix a car, it takes 2 or 3 times as long as I think it should do. I usually end up injuring myself at least once or twice. This went far too well, and it unnerves me. But I don't know. Hopefully it's fixed anyway. So yeah, that's that. You probably don't want to hear about my car, but yeah, it's just one of the old cars that I have. It's good for it's a beat up old car, but it's good for the wife and kids. Yeah, I'll not bore you with that. But it was the same type that we had before when we had a petrol version, and it was the one when I was talking about before, when that Chinese satellite, unused satellite thing, was going to fall out of the sky and nobody knew where it was going to land. I was fixing that one at the time, and I was like just praying it would just land on the car just to save me the bother. But yeah, no, this one's like the 1.9 diesel. It's pretty good. Yeah, I'm used to just driving really underpowered things, so it's actually got a decent amount of power to it when you need it to, when it's working. What was the other thing? I've been torturing myself today with the Darrell Brooks trial. Oh man, that guy is so infuriating to watch. It's like watching a child. It's like a child trying to sort of plead their case against their parents and just arguing and arguing and arguing with the judge. And this poor judge, she's having to sort of be super patient because she wants to get everything right so that an appeal won't go anywhere, because he's going to try and appeal his conviction when he's convicted, even though there's just no way it wasn't him. There's so many witnesses. Everybody saw him running on over all the people. But today, actually, the judge, was more infuriating to me than him, because I've kind of gotten used to his behavior, objecting to everything, pretending he doesn't understand, and all this nonsense. and just basically just being a jerk. But her today, oh, so many times it was infuriating. So many times she was saying, "Right, Mr. Brooks, I'm going to ask you 3 times." So, for example, she'd say, "I'm going to ask you 3 times whether you want to use your right to testify or whether you want to waive your right to testify," type of thing. And he would just spout off and talk about some other nonsense and not answer a question. So, and she would sort of warn him, "Look, I'm going to ask you so many times, and if you don't answer, that's going to be a no by omission. You're going to waive your right to testify." And she would get there, but then she was too timid to pull the trigger. She'd be like, "I'm going to ask you again. I'm going to." It's like, how? This is your final warning. It's like a parent that doesn't follow through. It's like, no, just tell him, right, this is your very last chance. You answer me now this question. It's very simple, yes or no. If you don't answer me, I will move on. You will not get the right to testify. She's the judge, right? She should have just been like that, but she was so wishy-washy. She did eventually. Oh, she was infuriating, so infuriating. But she did finally, eventually say, right, that's it. You're not testifying then. And she and because he kept on blathering on about other stuff that wasn't relevant, she muted him, which was very satisfying to because he had at that point his conduct was so bad he was actually in the next courtroom. So she muted him several times, but eventually, thank goodness, eventually she did say, right, that's it, we're moving on. Your defense is over. You've finished until next thing will be jury instructions and then final arguments, and then the jury will decide. But man, that poor jury. I think tomorrow, I don't think I'm going to watch any of it because it's going to be like over 7 hours worth of reading just jury instructions to the jury because there's that many crimes. Oh, man, that's going to be tedious. Apparently, at the start of the trial, I missed this, but apparently it took 7 or 7.5 hours for her to read through those jury instructions. Oh, man. so that's why she sort of sent the jury home early today before lunch because she was like, I need like a full day to go through these instructions. There's like over 100 pages of it she's got to go through. That's, man. I imagine once the jury get their hands on it, it's going to be such a quick decision. I mean, it'll take them a couple of hours at least, probably just because there's going to be that many forms for them to fill in. Um, but yeah, that guy needs to go to jail forever. He just needs to go to prison forever. I mean, the crime he committed was bad enough, but just his conduct in court as well is just a complete narcissist of a person where everything's just all about them. Just seems to have no comprehension for the fact that other people were injured or killed by him or anything. Just no comprehension. Everything's just like he's being done wrong. Oh, why are my rights being violated when none of his rights are being violated? He keeps going to the judge. Why do you keep holding me in contempt? And she has never held him in contempt once because that would be stupid anyway. He's already in jail. So anyway, I'll not go on too much about Brooks. What was the other thing? On Sunday, I took my daughter to see the Sunderland women's team playing against there was a London team, and that was good. Apart from the fact that it was really, really rainy, really wet. Yeah, bit of a shame Sunderland didn't win, but it was a good game to watch. I don't really often see football like live actual football. But I was quite impressed. I was particularly impressed with one of the Sunderland women called Griffiths, I think her surname was, because I was thinking, how am I going to remember that? And I just thought Peter Griffin. If I remember Peter Griffin, Griffiths, I'll remember that. She was yeah, she was good. There was one bit where I think it was her that somebody fouled, one of the others fouled her, and the ref did call it, I think, and then as they were getting up, because I was quite close to where it happened, you hear things that you don't hear on the telly. She just went like, "Effing hell, man!" It's those little things that you don't catch usually on the telly. Oh yeah, and one of them when the London team went to boot it up the field one time, it kind of smacked straight off the side of one of the women's heads, and I was like, "Oh, that must have hurt." She took it like a trooper and just bosh. If that had been one of the blokes playing football, they would have probably been rolling around on the ground for 2 or 3 minutes. But she didn't even stop. She was just kind of like but she just got on with it. But it's like, oh man, that must have hurt because they've got a canny kick on them. Like you know, yeah. I mean, obviously these are like pretty much athlete level fitness. These women, they do this day in day out. Man, when they boot that ball, they've got some power in them kicks. I tell you, definitely. So that was good. It's because my daughter is now back to training with the people. It's called the Foundation of Light. The Sunderland Stadium is called the Stadium of Light, and the Foundation of Light is kind of like the youth sort of training thing. So usually on Tuesdays, she goes and trains. She took a break from it for a few years when she went to secondary school, but I'm pleased to say that she's getting back into it now because I think it does her a world of good. I mean, it's good physically, but also I think just for everything, discipline, mentally, it's good to be into some kind of hobby or sport. So that's good. I enjoyed taking her to that. Um, so yeah, I took her along to see the women's professional team, and yeah, good times. Be much more enjoyable in better weather conditions, but yeah, I have to keep an eye out for when they're playing sometimes. Maybe take her. So I'll move on to the news. So let's see if I try this. No, first I have to present. Share my screen. Yeah, I should get quicker and better at this as I do it more often. Hey, there we go. Right, okay, so I've got a screen on. So let's see. First thing caught my eye: Matthew Perry. This lad spent hang on, $9 million apparently he has spent trying to get sober during addiction to prescription drugs. So he's been in and out of rehab a lot. So it says here, yeah, 15 times during his career. And man, can you imagine being so messed up with this that you've spent $9 million trying to get clean, from it, or trying to break that habit. So I feel for this lad because it doesn't matter how much wealth you've got or fame you've got. If you've got these kind of problems, man, I wouldn't trade my life for this for however many million. Just no, So I mean, it shows 15 times. It shows he clearly does want to not have these addictions, and I don't know what he's doing with it at the moment. Hopefully, he is staying sober and stuff. Um, yeah, not good. It definitely takes a toll on people physically. You can usually tell, usually in somebody's face, like if they've caned the drugs or the drink during their life. It does tend to age people in a certain way. Um, yeah, Matthew Perry, ooh, shoulder. Yeah. Um, yeah, no, I just wish him the best. To me, he'll always be Chandler, just because yeah, I grew up like I was a teenager during the '90s, when Friends was first on and stuff. So he'll always be Chandler to me. Um, let's see what else here. Apparently, more than 15,000 ambulance workers are going to vote on the biggest strike in 30 years. Um, yeah, this is always tough situations for people. My my father-in-law, he was an ex-ambulance driver. He was an ambulance driver for many years, and then he sort of semi-retired to patient transfer service. And he was an ambulance driver during the strikes in was it late 80s, early 90s, or something around about that time. And that was tough times for the family. For my wife as a kid, she remembers those times when there was just hardly any money and stuff, and people donating bits of food and things. So it's never good, but I guess sometimes it's a necessary thing if your conditions just are not. Yeah, I don't know what to think about it. It's hopefully they come to some kind of arrangement or reasonable deal for pay and conditions and stuff. Because yeah, it's not good. Strikes are never good. I think I'm trying to remember when my wife was a child what they did. I think the army had to try and step in and try and give some medical aid and stuff when the ambulance strikes were on. I don't know, but she just remembers it being a tough time, like financially for them. He's a great guy, my father-in-law. He's getting on a bit now, but we see him every Sunday. There's a picture of him in his house. There's a picture of him on the wall meeting the Queen because it was back when the IRA was sort of bombing in London. He was an ambulance man in London at the time, and he was one of the first on the scene at some pub, some place. I don't know the details, but there'd been some low-level bomb and a lot of leg injuries and stuff. And obviously, there was always a risk of a secondary bomb sort of thing. Sometimes they wait for people to go and help and set another one off. But so the Queen went and met with them to sort of thank them for their service for that. So yeah, he's a great guy. Really, one of the most chilled out, mild mannered, and sort of very patient men you'd ever meet. Not like me. I am not a very patient person. My kids will tell you that. I'm just like, my kids wind me up. Yeah. So I just spotted that, and it just reminded me about the that affected my wife directly in the first time round. What else? Apparently, it was disruption on the M62 as a big diesel spill. Diesel spilt from a lorry crash. That's never good. It looks like here they've put all the stuff. They put some kind of weird sawdusty stuff or something on. Don't need to try and soak it up. I think the fire brigade have special chemicals and stuff for chemical spills. But it can be lethal for motorbike riders like myself. I once ended up with a broken radial head fracture to my elbow because of diesel on a wet road. It just turns it like ice. You probably experienced it in a car before, but imagine that, but you're on two wheels, and that's not good. Yeah, it's always unnerving on a bike. I've had an experience with actual ice where you're going in the same direction as your bike, but it's about 2 meters in front of you, and you're like, that's not good. That shouldn't be happening. I should be on that. What just happened? So yeah, that's always a concern. Diesel on the road, definitely for motorcyclists. So hopefully they cleared that all up before there was any major incidents or major like crashes. Not good. But I think I sometimes see somebody popping in and out of the stream. If anybody pops in, leave a comment. I have a chat. I'd love to have a chat. Hopefully, StreamYard will show me if there's any comments for me to respond to. Let's see what else is. Oh, here we go. My favorite people, the Just Stop Oil protesters. Absolute divvies. They just don't understand life, these people. They want to stop oil, not realizing that without oil, they die. Basically, it's that simple. Almost every product they're using, oil has either been used to make it or transport it. All of their food comes from farms, and the farm equipment requires oil. It's made out of oil. It uses oil to power it. It's just almost everything needs oil, you morons. It's not a bad thing to have oil. But what I found interesting about this particular one, it's just another one of these stunts, right? They've been wrecking pieces of art and stuff. Not that I don't think these morons think this through. It's not going to help their cause. Nobody's going to think, oh yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to be on board now that you've done that. But anyway, I'm going off on a tangent there. But what's ridiculous about this, right? It's at the Madame Tussauds, or no, it might not. Wherever it is, it's a waxwork place, right? Might be Madame Tussauds, might be somewhere else, but it's a waxwork of Charles and Camilla. So I'll explain why this is even more stupid than normal in a minute. But here's a little video. Splat. There we go. So they splat this on Charles, not realizing he's one of the guys who's well into all the all the green nonsense stuff. Like, he's one of the guys pushing it. He's on board with the World Economic Forum. He's on board with like reducing carbon emissions to almost nil, and like basically, so for all of us, by the way, probably not for them, but for making it so everybody else's lives are really almost impossible to live. He'd probably be happy with depopulation and all that kind of nonsense. So to target him as part of the protest is ridiculous. He's actually one of the guys that's on your side. he believes in your stupid nonsense. Yeah, anyway. Don't get me started on those Muppets. They're like spoiled children. They've got no real life experience. I'd like to think that when they look back on this in 20 years' time, they'll be like, oh, what was I doing? Really? Why did I do that? And if anybody's watching this and you believe that the world has only got 9 years left or 12 years left because of oil or something, just have a word with yourself. Have a look at. I've got this great graphic actually, and it's all the predictions from the news, like all through the years of all the stupid failed predictions about. They thought New York will be underwater by 2004 and all this kind of rubbish or whatever it is. All of it is nonsense. I personally can actually see if there is end of the world stuff going on in like within 10 years, I can see that happening, but for other reasons, more to do with prophecy stuff. Nothing to do with the weather, basically. Nonsense. Just my opinion. If you disagree, hey, put it in the comments. But yeah, these people, in my opinion, no real life experience, no understanding of actual science. Yeah, no critical thinking. Just useful idiots, effectively. It might sound harsh, but that's just my opinion of them. And hopefully in 10, 20 years' time, they'll realize it, look back and think, oh, what was I doing? Why? Just, yeah. So what else? Just, certain things affecting everybody, isn't there? Price of things going up, inflation and stuff, which is why it led me to make a daft little video. Let me see if I can put the sound on. Let's see it go onto my channel. I don't know if you remember the £1 fish guy. £1 fish. Remember that guy? I thought I would do a little parody to explain, yeah, like how it's going to be in 2023. Here it is. Oh, we got no sound? Oh, no, we've got no sound. I'm boomering this already. How do I get the sound on then? All right, sorry about this. This is why I need to practice with StreamYard, right? So I've got the screen. How do if I right click on it? No. How do I get sound on it? Oh, apparently I can watch myself live, can I? Will that work? No, that'll create a feedback loop, surely. Let's go to my channel. Okay. How am I going to do the volume? Volume? It's on. Aha! Oh, I can't replay it though, can I? Ah! YouTube! YouTube, you jerks. Come on, get this right. No, that's not right. Here we go. No! Oh, I hate technology sometimes so much. Right. Let's see if this works. £10 fish. £10 fish. £10 fish. There we go. £10 fish. Yeah, I thought I'd modify it because it used to be £1 fish. So I'm predicting pretty soon it'll be £10 fish. Well, at least I've figured out that's where they put the sound bit on there. But that's the annoying thing. Like, it's like my daughter sends me sometimes things on TikTok. She'll message me a thing on TikTok, so I'll open it on my phone. It'll open in a browser. By the time I've cleared the cookie thing and tried to unmute it, I've missed half of what the thing is because they're only like a few seconds long. I hate it. It's like, "Arr!" And then the thing is, at the end of it, it doesn't just replay it so I can see whatever the joke is. It moves on to something else, and I'm like, "Arr!" So then I've got to like go back to the message, click it again, and really quickly try and clear the thing and get the sound on, just so I can even see. And then by then I'm like, I don't even care about the joke now. It's like it does my head in so much. So I'm having a bit of a rant. Yeah, that's it. I'm getting into rant mode. What shall I rant about? No. Let me chill. Not supposed to be a rant stream tonight. No. I think that was kind of it, though. Really. Yeah. What was it? I was just looking through the news. Oh, here we go. Ant-Man and Wasp. Apparently, there's going to be a new movie. I thought they were kind of okay. Those ones are quite. I wasn't expecting to like them because I thought that seems a bit cheesy. He goes down to like ant size and stuff. But when I watched it, it was actually a decent movie. Now I was just looking here though. But I mean, look, Michelle Pfeiffer. Look how great she's still looking, man. She's a nice looking lady. But I mean, obviously, well, she's Michelle Pfeiffer. But I mean, I imagine she might have had work done and stuff or whatever. Maybe not. Maybe she's just nice looking. But yeah, I suppose they've got stylists and makeup and all that kind of stuff. But she's always been good looking. So let's put a trailer on here. I'm gonna mute the sound because oh no, it's there we go. I'll mute the sound because yeah, this guy, I forget what he's called. He was in Friends as well. He was Mike Hannigan, wasn't he, in Friends? Was that his name? Mike something or other? The one that ended up with Phoebe. Yeah, I thought he was actually really good in Ant-Man. And yeah, I wanted to keep the sound off because YouTube, I'll probably get like copyright strikes or something. Oh, okay. So she's back from the. He managed to get her back from that place, did he? She was in the mega quantum realm or whatever it was, the very very small realm. The last time. You'll have to forgive me. I don't really keep up with all the Marvel stuff and that, but I'll probably give this one a watch at some point. But because I'm cheap, I'd probably wait for a few years until it's like free on like Disney Plus or something. Well, I say free. It's not free, is it? I've got to pay for that, but I've got kids, so that's why I've got that. Ooh, weird. Is that Pfeiffer? Yeah, that's her. I can tell by the eyes. There she is. She's still looking good. Didn't one of them die? I don't know. It's been so long since I've watched them. I can't remember the storyline. Nah, I don't know. It's February, huh? Oh, it's all getting a bit Star Warsy now. Is that Bill Murray? Man, I haven't seen Bill Murray for a long time. Is that him? I don't know. It looks like it might be good fun. If ever I watch these kind of movies, I don't take them too seriously. I just treat them as a bit of fun. You got to try and overlook. Sometimes there's plot holes and things. You've got to like switch off your that side of your brain and go, just enjoy it as a movie. The suspension of disbelief, they call it, don't they? Quantum Mania. Yeah, that looks all right. We'll see. Oh no, not bird flu again. No, jog on. Right, no, that's it. I'm done with the news. Let me see if I can. How do I stop sharing screen? Hey, I'm back. There we go. Well, doesn't look like anybody's really watching tonight. That's a shame. I was hoping to have like a little bit of a chat in the chat box. It's always an Ask Me Anything. Fire any questions in. I'm always happy to talk about any subject whatsoever. But yeah, maybe next time. Right, okay, catch you later. Bye.